Headlines read, and of course, this is from Boxing News 24. Grab your boots and run. Brian Norman Jr. publicly humiliates Jaron Ennis for abandoning 147 pounds after dominant win. Boots Ennis has confirmed that he's moved to 154, and since that move is happening, Brian Norman Jr. is now the boogeyman of 147 pounds after his devastating knockout of Jin Sasaki in the 5th round in Japan. And I'm hearing all these messages now. I see all these titles, all these videos saying Jaron Boots Ennis moved up to 154 to avoid Brian Norman Jr. Is that the case, Storm?
I think right now, probably, but please tell us about your future.
About the future, I wish I had a certain fight coming up, but they heard B Norm the Storm coming, and I know what happened when the storm comes. You grab your boots and run.
Now, fighting Brian Norman Jr. at 147 is low reward, high risk, right? After this performance, Devin Haney's not going to fight him. Rolly is not going to fight him. Rolly's trying to fight Pacquiao if he beats Mario Barrios. And that con artist we know is Teofimo Lopez, who says daring to be great, doesn't want to fight Brian Norman. And you know why he doesn't want to fight Brian Norman? He's a dangerous puncher. He doesn't have any problems making 147. Teofimo likes to go for those drained fighters. This guy's 24 years old, strong champion, big puncher, and doesn't have no problem with making 147. Teofimo says, no thanks, I pass. So for Brian Norman Jr., he's stuck. Unless Boots Ennis is willing to stay down for one more fight and fight Brian Norman Jr., which would be a big fight at 147 after his last performance, which is the only fight I said I would like to see at 147, but I doubt Boots will stay down to make that fight because he has problems making 147. And I get it. Boots will be 28 years old soon. So as you get older, it's harder to make that weight. He's been at 147 for a minute. So I understand where Boots is coming from. And besides that, Brian Norman Jr. and his team was offered to fight, but they priced themselves out. I think they was offered 1.7 mil, and they said that wasn't enough. So how can we say Boots ran to 154 to avoid Norman Jr. when Norman Jr. was offered to fight and he turned it down? To me, Brian Norman Jr. is sounding like Teofimo Lopez. They want to fight a drained fighter. They want to fight Jaron Boots Ennis when he's not at his best. I got a better idea. Won't Teofimo Lopez fight Brian Norman Jr. at 147? Or Teofimo could fight Rolly Romero. Top Rank did offer Teofimo the Brian Norman Jr. fight, and he passed on that. Now he's talking about fighting Lamont Roach if he gets past Tank Davis. Does that sound like someone daring to be great? And a matter of fact, when Boots vacates those titles, I think Rolly will get one of those titles. So there's no excuse for him not to fight Rolly. So a couple of questions before we wrap it up. Should Jaron Boots Ennis try to make 147 one more time for the Brian Norman Jr. fight? And do you believe Boots Ennis ran up to 154 to avoid Brian Norman Jr., which is very laughable to me? Also, who does Brian Norman Jr. fight next? Since champions like Rolly, Romero, and Mario Barrios not going to fight him, I'm going for entertainment value. I'd like to see him against Rocha or like a Conor Ben. But anyway, leave your thoughts and comments below. Jay Beezy, I'm gone.